Las tres letras. P-T-A.
Paul Thomas Anderson calls you for a project. You, like Benicio said, you say yes first, then you read the script. He's created such unique worlds that you feel immersed in. And for this one, the fact that I love films that have a tremendous amount of thought put into them, that have layers to them that are, unpredictable in their nature. And Paul started writing this 16 years ago, 17 years ago, and it's so topical to the world that we live in, but it's so entertaining at its core. And these characters have, these three characters have such a humanity to them. They're flawed characters that are trying to make their way in a world of extremes. I just love that he tackled this issue. And again, it's not an issue that he's tackling, but he's ultimately holding a mirror up to society right now in the world that we live in, and we get to see it through these eyes of these people that are trying to come together and find a form, trying to find a humanity in helping each other out. Very human, real characters that everyone can relate to when they see the film.
I mean, I think, like Leo said, if Paul calls, nobody is ever going to say no. And just getting the chance to be on his set, which are the ultimate master classes, and to work with like Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, Regina Hall, and Teyana Taylor, it's a chance that I was never going to pass up. But also getting to work with him and workshop like Willa and her character and learn more about him and his process, I think that really made me fall in love with the project more than anything.
Las tres letras. P-T-A. Paul Thomas Anderson, como dice, like Leo is saying, creates a real original story, unpredictable, full of humanity. Every character is three-dimensional, even the bad guys. He explores the human condition in this great action-driven, charging. And then it's the cast, which is Leo was attached to it. I've always wanted to work with Leo. Sean Penn is one of those actors I've also admired since I first started. And then Teyana Taylor, Regina Hall, and then this one over here was a bucket of lightning. She lights up that screen, and it was a pleasure to work with her.
I mean, quite obviously and quite honestly, I have children of my own. I have 3 daughters, so it was very easy for me to connect to Bob. It was very easy for me to cherish Willa and feel deeply about her, and to write a scenario like this, it was not far away from my life. I don't sit around smoking pot all day on the couch, like Bob or something like that, but I think any parent always feels a little bit like a failure, and always, those first years of fatherhood are so magical, and then they start to turn into this, and they have their own minds, their own yearnings, their own desires, and you in that kind of transition of letting them blossom into that was very easy for me to understand. It was very close to my fingertips. Yeah, we have a lot of wonderful characters in this movie, terrific kind of supporting players, but the heart of the movie is where my heart is with the two of them.
Paul had the beginning of the character and the ending of the character. And we explored the whole journey of the character. And together we just came up with what you see. Part of that is that Paul loves the process of the actor, and also did something that was very cool too, which he brought a lot of non-actors to participate with us as actors. And I've seen it described that my character is a leader, and perhaps the seed of that really started when we were forced to include these non-actors to participate and believe what we actors need to convey. So Leo and myself, we had to be leaders for these non-actors to follow us, and I think we achieved that. And I think that sparked the chemistry between Leo's character and my character. And if I may add, the whole idea is, I think Sensei is the perfect friend.
Luckily, Leo and Benicio and I have known each other for a while, so there's a friendship and a mutual respect there. And the same thing with Sean too, So I think, to Benny's point, which is interesting, that you do feel as if you're the leaders and that you are inviting people to come to the party, to come to collaborate with you, and I think that maybe, one thing I would say is I think we all take the work very seriously. We don't take ourselves very seriously. I think that we like to have a good time. We like to work very hard. I think one of the benefits that we had in this film is being on location. You know, we were like a very traveling circus. You know, we would be in Northern California. We went all over California into El Paso. And so when you have those kinds of journeys together, it puts you in a better kind of a headspace, a team space, you know. You're living somewhere together, really going to work together, and there's just a unified front to try to do good work and to have a good time doing it. Yeah, to your point about taking a village, I mean, this is like the smallest portion of the people that made this movie. There's so many people that really made this movie with us, behind us, that I've worked with for years and years and years. And, you know, maybe you've heard people talk about filmmaking as a family before. When it's at its best, it really is that way. And I don't know. We were happy to go to work every day. That's a good feeling.
And the greatest gift you can have as an actor is to walk into an ecosystem on set where you know there's been a tremendous amount of thought already put into it. And that doesn't mean just the story or the camera work. It's the details of being able to work with non-actors, real people, being on these real locations that inform your character, being a part of a culture that gives you ideas, you know. And it's a tremendous gift to not have to think about all of those things and to just focus on, like Benicio said, telling the truth of your character and listening to the people around you. And Paul created that in an amazing way in this movie. I said it so many times, but there's so much thought put into this film. There's so many unexpected twists and turns, and he almost created its own, you know, its own universe in a modern day context. I've talked about Star Wars before, but it's true. He created like a Star Wars universe in this world, and I think people are going to have an amazing time watching this movie, especially in the theater, because it's a film that's really made for that theatrical experience.
Paul does a fantastic job, and everyone else who works on the film, whether they be on the stage or not, creating that family and creating a space that you feel safe. And I think that also makes you excited to go to work every day and excited to see everyone else in the cast and crew.
Sensei, it's a little bit himself, a little bit of a revolutionary. He's doing it, a humanitarian, and he's going against forces. Let's call them forces. And so, but then he finds out that Leo's character is the Rocket Man. And in my mind, and I think we talked about it too, you know, that's one of Sensei's heroes. And, you know, we decided that it would be funny if I take a picture and document that, just kind of like we're being documented a little bit. I'm not saying I'm your hero, but, you know, so it brought that sense to the character that it's easy for me because I've been a fan of Leo. So I was a fan for a moment there, and we took the picture. But you know, I think that brings an angle to the character, a dimension to the character that makes it very original, very human.
A friend of mine came out of the movie the other night, and he said, I don't want to talk about this right now. I just want to feel it. And I loved that. I loved that feeling. I hope he does want to talk about it with me one day. But I think the film, I hope, if anything, that there's an optimism to it that I hope comes through. I feel optimistic when I look at Chase, when I look at another generation coming up behind us. I look at it, I see it in my kids. I see it in her performance. I get optimistic about the future of movies and going to be in good hands if she's going to be on that screen. So the end of the movie is her. You know, the end of the movie is handing off the journey to her, the fight to her. And so that makes me optimistic. So I hope that comes through in the film. I hope that would be a currency within the conversations about the film, or a feeling at least. Leo and I were very nervous very, very concerned with her the first day. I'm answering for you. I'm interrupting, but we were very concerned. We said, well, we have to really keep an eye out for her. It's her first movie, you know, really like annoying, kind of babying her a little bit. Like, are you okay? And she was kind of looking at us like, I'm fine. Let's go. And we realized that we were nervous, and we really didn't have anything to worry about with her. But now you can answer your question. So I just wanted to say
So
that.
it was the question was the other way, right? No, but thank you for sharing that with us. So Chase, was there a moment on set that made you feel you were growing as an actress, particularly with this exchange of generations?
Oh, for sure. I think like getting to work with like Paul and Leo and Benicio, and then again the people who aren't here, Sean, Regina, and Tayana. I think that just getting to be a student and observe them every day, I found myself being like, oh my gosh, I'm growing in ways that I never could have imagined growing, and just getting the chance to observe them, and then observe Paul interacting with the rest of the crew, and then observing every other department within the crew was such a gift.
I want to echo something that Leo is so good about saying, is that it's like you want to get on your knees and beg people to come to the theater, because we really, that's what we have bet on this. I think that we grew up in a time where we went to the movies. We didn't know anything other than going to the movies. And so now here we are, and we've made something that is really dedicated to be seen big, gigantic, and loud, and with a lot of people. I think the experiences that we've had, we all watched the movie together, you know, alone or with a few friends or something like that, but it was nothing compared to the feeling that we all had when we were in a crowded movie theater. We kind of achieved liftoff together. At a certain moments, you just felt in the audience all kind of lifting up out of their seats together, and it's just a communal feeling that, oh, it's amazing, isn't it? Amazing when it happens. So just the encouragement of that, to support that experience, that's really what we're hoping for.